Welcome to Dear Sandy. I'm Sandy Galef, a member of the New York State Assembly representing parts of Northern Westchester and parts of Putnam County. And today we're going to be talking about My Brother's Keeper. It's just a wonderful, relatively new program, and we're going to be discussing how it's working in both the Ossining schools and the Peekskill schools. So I'm so pleased to have three wonderful guests with me today, and we're going to learn so much about this program. First, Melissa Banta, who is, I guess the title is your co-chair and community partner for the My Brother's Keeper MBK.
Yes.
Right. And also Kemi Pogue is also the co-chair and community partner, and we welcome you.
Thank you.
And Martin McDonald, you're from Ossining, and Martin McDonald is a Peekskill board member and community partner with the MBK program, but you're Peekskill.
Correct.
So, and I have both of your school districts in my district. I'm so fond of all the wonderful things that are going on in both of the districts. And, but tell us a little bit, Melissa, about My Brother's Keeper. When did it all start? I think it was a program that President Obama put into place.
Correct. So in 2014, then President Barack Obama set forth the My Brother's Keeper initiative, which is a national initiative that has specific milestones that are required to be met at both the national and the state level. It is up to individual school districts to decide if they would like to accept the challenge. And in 2016, Ossining decided they were willing to accept that challenge, and we've been laying the groundwork for that ever since.
Mm-hmm. Now, you say challenge. I don't know whether either one of you, what is this challenge that you're talking about?
Okay, so it's a community challenge. So the village and the school and other community partners got together and said, hey, we're going to accept this challenge to empower and inspire young men of color. So we have the village, community, and the school district working together.
So the village of Ossining is also participating in this, as well as the schools?
As well as the schools and other
Right.
community partners, yes.
Right, right. That's wonderful. And Martin, what happened in Peekskill? How did that develop in Peekskill?
Well, we got involved a little bit later than Ossining did, and just recently we had our launch. Our mayor accepted the challenge. Mayor Andre Rainey accepted the challenge. Superintendent David Mauricio has come in and hit the ground running, and he's established some things to make sure that we're getting more community partners involved in creating that village, because it does take a village.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So the problem is that young boys, and particularly minority boys, weren't achieving to their full capacity. Is that what the whole mission was about?
Well, pretty much. I think that there's that gap, the achievement gap of black boys and Latino boys not achieving at the same level or graduating at the same level even as their white counterparts. And that's something that we had to take a serious look at. Here in Peekskill, the numbers are getting better, and that's why we're trying to just engage as many young boys as we can and encouraging them that education is important and school is important, and just trying to really help them along in any way that we can.
Mm-hmm. So in the past, we probably didn't think about it enough, right? I mean, there have been programs. It's not like we haven't had advantage school programs, a lot of after-school community programs and so on. But I guess we came to a point where we just said we really have to just turn this non-achievement around, because we know that people can accomplish great goals.
That's right.
Correct. So in terms of addressing the achievement gap, what the My Brother's Keeper initiative does is look at the specific contributing factors for young boys and men of color, and the institutional and systemic issues that contribute to the hurdles that keep them from, reaching their full potential. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit of a microscopic approach to identify specific needs to this, group of students and young men and boys.
So the national program does it put together like a syllabus or a direction or some, a focus that you can kind of follow and look toward, what are some needs, what are some things that we've lacked?
Yes, well, there are several goals that are set on a national level. They can be found on the website, on the National My Brother's Keeper website. There are national goals, some of which include making sure children enter school ready to learn, so there's addressing it at the very basic levels. There's making sure that the older students are college ready when they leave high school, or at the very least they're graduating at the expected rate. And then there are also state level goals where those are a bit different, but there is, if you will, a guideline as to what the end goal is, so you know what you're reaching for.
Yeah, there's different milestones, and each school picks about 2 or 3 milestones. And I think one important milestone is having the young boys be ready, be on reading level by 3rd grade, because there is a gap.
Important. Right.
Between, they come into school and they're achieving high, but by the time they get to 3rd grade, they're not. So, and that's a national milestone. So I think that's important.
What do you think that problem is? Do we know the answer to it?
I don't know the answer to it, but we need to find the answer to it.
Right.
And I think that's what MBK is about, is to find, we have to address the issues and change it.
Yeah, we have to absolutely just keep trying till we find out what works. I think we have some pretty good school districts here in Austin and in Peekskill. I know that one of the things that the superintendent in Peekskill, Dr. David Mauricio, is looking at is how do we engage more parents. So our Saturday Academy, we're opening up the schools on Saturday, getting people to come into the Peekskill Middle School on Saturday periodically. It's amazing when you see 500 families come in with kids, and everybody in the community is there, everybody from the youth bureau to the health center to the police department, all these different organizations, the soccer organizations, we're all in there, the NAACP is in there, all supporting these kids. And I think that's a great way to start to get parents more engaged. And doing this is opening up an avenue where everybody sees that this is important. So we are becoming an MBK community.
So Martin, when they come on the weekends, so you have different groups that are there, and so students and their parents can come and talk with how to get into the Little League, or how to get into a book. I don't know about book discussion groups, but I was
Actually,
trying to do
there's
this.
all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
There's all
okay,
kinds of things
okay,
like that.
all kinds of
Everything
things.
from reading to a petting zoo. And everything in between,
okay.
arts and crafts, and they
Right.
get recreation, they go into the gym, they get a free brunch, but just to get them used to coming into the school and engaging the parents, because we know that once parents are engaged, kids have a better chance of succeeding.
Right. I remember actually being a volunteer many years ago, just going into some of the housing units and teaching parents how to read to their kids, and how important that is.
Yeah.
So, and unless parents do that, there's a whole it can be a lack of reading that impacts children. So is the library, do the library get engaged with all this, or is that a different avenue for?
Well, the Austin Library is a stakeholder.
Absolutely.
So we will be, working with them more, but they are a stakeholder, yes, in Austin.
And same in Peekskill.
Right,
Absolutely, yeah.
right. So what age are we looking at right now that you can't start a program? I mean, we were talking about trying to get everybody up to 3rd grade reading, but we can't. Can we start a program for the whole school, or does it start with a certain group of kids? And
Well, as we were talking about, as far as entering school ready to learn, maintaining their reading levels, that's where parent engagement comes in for the early learners, because once you start to fortify that foundation at home of being ready to learn, it makes it easier once you enter school. As far as Austining, our programming that we have launched recently starts as young as 5th grade. And through the parent engagement, that's how we kind of reach and fortify the initiative with the younger students.
And Martin, is Peekskill, you started a little later, so.
Yeah, 6th grade.
Right,
From middle
so
school.
you're into 6th grade and
so
up.
They have about 50 young men, boys right now that are engaged in they're My Brother Keeper ambassadors in the middle school, and have another 50 in the high school. that are My Brother's Keeper ambassadors. So they're working with them,
Right.
continuously monitoring them and encouraging them. And then there's other community stakeholders that are also working with groups of some of the boys, whether it's New Era Creative Space or the Peace Corps Youth Bureau or the Peace Corps NAACP. That's where I come in. We have a academic success program called the Black Diamonds, and we work with a certain amount of boys. And I guess the goal is to try to engage as many boys as we can to help them do better.
So I'm a boy in Peekskill. I'm in 6th grade, and I'm involved with My Brother's Keeper. Can you kind of walk us through some of the things that I might be going through in
Unfortunately,
that
I can't, not at 6th grade, because I'm dealing with the kids that are in the high school.
Okay, okay. Let's
yeah.
take a high school person then. Sophomore in high school, they
think
joined
it's-
the program. How do you start out with them? I mean, how do you, does somebody sit down and try to find out what the needs are, what the goals are of the individual, and where they may need some help? And
I think it's some of all of that. You do have to sit down and find out where they are, find out what their goals are, and then offer them something and listen intently to what they're saying and try to counter it and balance it out. But we kind of know some of the things that they need to be doing. They need to be reading more. They need to be writing more. They need to be experiencing things. So in my mind, I think there's a balance. You're going to have fun. You're going to do some really fun things, maybe go bowling or go to a basketball game. But at the same time, you know what? Every now and then, you might have to support a cause. You might have to let them know about things like the foundation aid or different things. We recently have partnered with the former U.S. Senator Joe Diaguardi. Joe Diaguardi has been fighting for the past 20 years to get Dory Miller awarded the Medal of Honor. Dory Miller was a World War II hero.
so they participated in
So they're
trying
learning
to
about
get
the
that to
history
happen?
and trying to make this happen. So they're starting with the petition in the school and making them aware. And they're
Right.
getting involved. They're getting engaged. And then after that, we want to visit colleges because you know what? High school's coming to an end. I got one guarantee for everybody that I come in contact with. The one guarantee is you will leave high school. How you
That's the
leave.
guarantee. Not
the
that you're
guarantee.
going to be in college, but the
Yeah,
guarantee
you're,
is
you're going to
gonna
leave high school. So you need
Right.
to set yourself up to have more opportunities and options. And a lot of boys, even my own son, who's 16 years old, he's a junior in Peace Corps High School, has realized that, wow, it's gone by really quick.
It does. Right.
It goes by really quick.
Right.
So we have to make sure that they're ready and give them opportunities.
Right. Yeah. Kemi, can you think about? Have you worked? What ages have you kind of worked with?
I'm on the co-chair, right? So there's different things that I participate in as the whole, right? But I will be implementing my 6-week Home and Against Drugs program for the middle school and high school. And I'll be working with the advisors on that. So I will be working hands-on with them.
So you're going to go. That would be something that's going to be accomplished in the school. There are going to be some programs in the school after school, or
It
during
will
school
be
weekend?
after school. The advisors are going to be the ones that are going to be implementing it. I'm going to be facilitating, but they're going to be doing the program. And it'll be after school, so it'll be an hour a week for 6 weeks.
And it's just talking about not getting on drugs or the.
Well, no,
the
it's more than
problem
that.
with-
It's more than
Okay.
that because, you have to build a foundation for resilience, right? So we talk about self-esteem, we talk about goal setting, healthy eating, exercising, of course, staying away from the alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. But the benefit of eating healthy, exercising, and setting goals, consequences, the good and the bad. And their goal is to hit a home and against drugs. So I will have guest speakers coming in each week to talk on that different subject. So it will be a program for them.
Right. Melissa, do you have anything special that you've worked on in this process?
Well, I do work in different venues when it comes to kind of supporting these types of initiatives, most specifically relating to MBK. I am co-president of Ossining Parents Advocating Collectively for Our Children, which is a parent organization.
So
in
that's
the
a
district.
different, that's like
Yes. So
a prong of all this.
the culmination of the My Brother's Keeper initiative in Ossining is not just the school district itself taking on this this challenge. It's also organizations like Kemi mentioned. She's with Home Run Against Drugs. There's organizations like OPEC, the Ossining NAACP, several organizations, and also stakeholders in the community that have stepped up to the plate to contribute their resources and their time and their expertise to see that this initiative is successful and sustainable.
I think, Kemi, we were talking before about mentors.
Yes.
How is that going to, is that another arm of all of this, having people in the community willing to mentor some of these young men?
It's under the umbrella of the MBK, so there's a mentoring piece of it, and so we partnered with New York State to come in and help us with the whole mentoring process. So that mentors have had training. Melissa and I have sat down in a training, so it's pretty good, right, Melissa?
Yeah,
The trainings?
it's, you know, they're preparing the mentors for what to expect, what's expected of them. You know, just kind of giving them some, you know, tools, if you will.
Yeah.
They're bringing their own expertise to the table, and then just showing up and wanting to be a part of this is half the battle. But you know, I think it will be very successful, because like Martin was saying earlier, it's not just about, you know, hammering the academic portion into it. It's about having fun, enjoying life, pursuing your interest, as well as you know, whether it be academically, athletically, whatever it is. And the mentoring program helps give the older kids, the middle and high school children, an opportunity to, you know, have an avenue to kind of explore those options.
And the experiences are so important, because you can, when you would just said just go to a baseball game or whatever, but you can then try to get young men interested in reading some of the history of baseball, or
Absolutely.
you know, about certain players. You know, and you can do all kinds of other things with the experiences that one has, which is really good.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
even Martin and I was talking about, you know, fishing. You know, the boys want to go and fish.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of life lessons in fishing.
I don't think you talk a lot when you fish, do you? That's
Listen, you can. There's I guess there's a mental part.
Yeah, sometimes that is the joy
That
of
is
fishing,
Fishing.
right? The
Yeah.
serenity of it,
Right.
right?
And it's the mental.
And that's probably true in today's world more than before, because everything is so noisy around you and so fast. And when you fish, you just kind of like stop, because you're not going to catch a fish if you're noisy, right?
But it's still a life experience that you can learn a lot just from
Right.
going
Right.
fishing. Yeah.
But going fishing with friends and so on, or getting
Absolutely.
your parents, I suppose part of that is trying to get the parents to facilitate some of this also, in addition to maybe the mentor.
Right. So we currently in Ossining are trying to increase the parent engagement in a different way, not just as far as the parent and the child, but also the parent in the community, the parent in the school district. How to get them more motivated and involved and informed of how they could contribute to this process as well, not just at home, but actively.
Right. And it is harder because parents are working more.
Right.
So it puts a little bit more pressure on them. What about just, one of the issues always comes up about absenteeism in school, and, you know, that's a real problem. So is that one of the things you're also working with the parents on, to be sure that their kids do go to school?
Well, part of the parent engagement portion is centered around, especially with the older kids, that's where the absentee concern would come in. So just making sure they know how to navigate the campus portal, how to stay in touch with the teachers. OPAC even did a workshop on how to engage with the teacher on a more, you know, outside of parent-teacher conferences, how to explore those avenues of keeping a close connection with faculty, teaching staff. So you're more up to date on what's happening in your day-to-day academic life with your child. So that's another portion where parent engagement comes into play, because the more you know about how the school, how your child navigates their school day, the more you'll be on top of things like that.
Are parents fearful of that kind of communication, or they just don't know that it's a really valuable thing today to be able to be involved in?
I think there might be some truth to that. I think there's a couple of things, different ways to look at that. I think that one thing that I've experienced, or I noticed, is that, you know, as your kid gets older, the less involved the parent is. And, you know, we're really involved when they're young and in first grade and all that. By the time they get to high school, we're like, my job's done, you got it now.
Right.
And nothing could be further from the truth.
Right.
Now you need to be even more involved. And I think that's one of the things that we have to let parents know, that no, you need to be just as involved as you were when they were in kindergarten and first grade. Stay on top of it as best you can.
Know where they are,
Yeah.
And that's where the
who their
piece
friends are.
that I was referring to comes in, as far as giving them options of how they can still be very actively involved in their child's life. That might not be the traditional way, so giving them those options to be a part of their child's growth, even though they might be in a more independent phase of their development.
Correct.
Right, so important. How do you recruit members to be involved with all your organizations? Do you put notices up everywhere?
Well,
is it
it's
word of
interesting in
mouth?
Ossining because after the launch, right, the kids got their T-shirts, right? So it's a blue T-shirt with the Ossining MBK logo on it, and they wear it every Friday. So, so the kids are like, who's
Perfect
the kids
advertisement.
Yeah,
That is.
perfect advertisement. So you see a lot of kids with their MBK T-shirts on in the middle school and high school. So that's how they're bringing a friend. They're bringing a friend each week. The advisors are letting us know they're bringing more people, friends to MBK. So that's one of the recruiting tools, and
that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, what's happening in Peekskill with recruiting?
I'm not sure we're doing that, but I think we might borrow that one. We were going to borrow that one.
Okay, don't make me.
It sounds like
you
a
got
good
it.
I think it's just the energy right now in Peekskill amongst the administration and the faculty and staff and people are just getting behind it. We have 5 community partners that are just getting behind it and trying to get as many people involved as possible. We have not gotten to the point where we have mentors, but we're looking forward to working with Jim Bosick, who is like the regional director coming out, Dr. Jim Bosick, coming out of Yonkers, who provides free training for mentors and free fingerprinting and all that kind of stuff. So we take away that financial burden from anyone that wants to be a mentor. And working with the school, you got to get fingerprinted.
Right.
So we have this vehicle that'll take care of that, and we're looking forward to getting to that point where we can get some men involved. I know we're working closely with some of the houses of worship here in the community, and putting out some feelers to see who we can get to come in and be a mentor. Mentors are invaluable. I got to tell you, I think that's the key to the whole thing. Having somebody there that's just listening to you, helping you through the process, not beating you upside the head with the academics constantly. That's my job.
Probably it's a different person. It's not your parents telling you what you might do or should do. It's somebody else kind of involved.
Absolutely.
That can be really good.
And one of the things that I'm kind of excited about is that we in the Black Diamonds have been contacted by a group called We Are Marcus.
Now, who are the Black Diamonds?
Black Diamonds is the academic success program being run by the NAACP here in Peekskill.
Okay.
And it's a program where every kid that's involved has to check in every day with their teacher, to get a check on their attendance, get a check on their homework, and get a check on their behavior. And at the end of every week, they give me those sheets, and we make sure the parents are aware that they're going to school on time, that they're doing their homework, and there's no behavior problems. Now, that said, we just started this, so it was a little slow in coming. The boys are starting to get it now. Once you get it to become a habit and a routine, it's a lot easier for them. But initially, it was like a little shaky, but just a little patience, a little time, and I'm sure they're going to get there. So that's who the Black Diamonds are. Academic Success Program, we want to visit colleges. We got speakers coming in. In fact, we're planning for a spring break college tour. We're going away for the spring break. They're excited about that, and we're doing a lot of things.
Sounds like there are, a number of different programs, and you're connecting with so many different community groups that are doing other things. It's just really wonderful because a child has so many different component parts, as do parents.
Finding a lot of them are very busy too. The boys that are in the MBK programs are those kids that everybody's pulling at. So not only are they busy with their classwork and whatever extracurriculars they're involved in, whether it's a club or a sporting event or anything like that, everybody wants these kids because they want to pour into them. We got to be a little careful about that because we can burn them out. You have to know who you're working with and how much of a workload you can put on them.
So people are looking up to the children that are in the program.
I think so.
Well, it's interesting because also we've been cognizant of that in Ossining, and we want to make sure that we're reaching not only the kids that are excelling, but those that are under excelling, because again, the initiative is to make sure that we're addressing the achievement gap and any kind of contributing factors to that. So we're mindful of that. Of course, when it comes to people being inspired to join up to the programs, those usually are the children that first are involved, or the parents that are first involved. But we're mindful of that, and to make sure that we're reaching out to the children that think that there might not be a place for them in this programming, or that the parents that think there might not be some way that they can contribute to the success, academic success of their child.
So, as we go forward in evaluating what we're doing, how do we do that? I know, Martin, probably you may have just said that because you're having people fill out different things. Is there more to the evaluation? How are we going to proceed?
I guess ultimately we're going to have to look at the graduation rates of the kids that we're impacting now and follow them and see where they're at 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and those that are in the 5th grade as they're moving through, what are their grades looking like? Are we having an impact? And I guess that's one of the ways that the school district will look at it. I know that Dr. Mauricio is definitely data-driven. He needs to see some proof, some concrete proof, not this anecdotal stuff or just things that are happening.
Kemi, you had a thought on that?
Yes, in Osning, she's the data person. She can talk
The
on
data
data.
person. Okay, but you're going to talk about
but
emotions.
But I know that we do have we're implementing something in Osning. You can speak on that.
Yeah, so like Martin was saying, on the macro level, you definitely want to look at the graduation rates, but on the micro level, what we're trying to do as well is we have entry and exit forms for our programming to see how the children are receiving the programming. We are finding different ways to kind of quantify the data to make sure that the programming itself is successful and is having the outcomes that we're setting forth, and that there's no need to modify it, or maybe there is. So there's different ways to kind of tap into that and just make sure that not only that there's a successful outcome, but that the children are enjoying themselves, and that there's room for the programming to evolve, expand. We want this to go into the community so that there's year-long, opportunities for the children to succeed and stay busy and active. And
Yes, we're actually talking about summer then. If you're talking about year-long, just making sure that there are other opportunities in the summer for our young men. So I think it's just such a great program. I guess we're going to expand it, keep working on it, expand it down, right, into the younger kids, and try to get to that 3-year-old reading level and 3rd grade reading level that everybody is going to get there.
Yeah. Got a lot of benchmarks that we got to try to meet. Yep.
Right. We do have some programming like Ossining Basics and Ossining, which is geared towards the even before they enter the school, like infants and babies and things of that nature. But like you said, there's always room to expand and kind of get more creative with how we approach things at all levels. It's some of the programming that we've launched has been very successful. Like we kind of, initially I think most districts are geared towards middle and high school. We took a chance on going a little bit younger with the 5th grade. Tamara Bridgewater, who started the MBK5 at Roosevelt School. It's been very successful, very well attended, and the children just loved it, and it was everything that we all hoped it would be.
Well, I just think you're all doing marvelous things, and I know you're going to impact so many young men's lives, and their parents, and their siblings, and probably everybody else. So I just want to thank you so much for your good work, and thank you for coming today. If you have any questions at all, just give me a call at my office, 914-941-1111. Thank you so much for watching, and just keep in touch with My Brother's Keeper. It's a wonderful program in our schools. Thank you for watching.